Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and it's been a couple of days since the latest balance patch happened where we saw changes to Druid, Mage, and Rogue in particular, and I wanted to go over and give you 5 of the best decks from Standard and WoW that you can take and reasonably expect to climb, whether it's getting to Gold, Platinum, Diamond, or Legend for the very first time. And again, a warning before you even think about crafting all of these, you never know what's going to be good today or tomorrow. Craft at your own risk. A couple of these are a little bit more of a risk, and I'll mention them when I get to them, but overall I hope that you guys have some success with them. And again, a friendly reminder, we are nearing 58k, and once we hit that milestone, bigger and better than the last giveaway going live then. So hit that sub button if you haven't already. Make me go broke. So starting off, we're gonna go with a deck that's pretty much the safest one out of the bunch for Standard, and that's Aggro Druid. None of these cards got nerfed. This was arguably one of the best decks, if not the best deck, before the balance patch, and it still is performing very well, where you just flood the board with early game. Typically want to try and hit an Iron Deep Trog, a Vicious Slither Spear, play your 2 drops, and basically try and activate your Herald on curve, which buffs your board if a nature spell has been cast, which can be a Living Root, Supplanted Evidence, or the Soil, which you can draw a lot of these off your Jerry Rig Carpenter, and you have Pride's Fury to solidify the board. This deck does fold to basically one big AoE. So this deck is all about fast games where you snowball and kill your opponent, and if your board gets answered by turns 4 and 5, you're typically out of the running. So be aware, this is a very all-in aggro deck, but it's a good one, and the games are relatively fast, and the deck itself is very, very cheap. Next, we have a deck that's doing very well, and that is Curse Imp Warlock. It's a combination of Imp Warlock, so you have your early game Imp package, Flame Imp, Flustered Librarian, your Nerf Location, Fiendish Circle. The deck has an alternate win condition other than just snowballing an early game board. You have the curses in here with Syracuse Cultist, you have Drag Below, Abyssal Wave, and Zakul, and you can copy these up with either a Bran of Tamsin, and it just gives you all that additional reach of damage. So you get a lot of early chip damage in with your early game, and then you can kind of lock out the late game. And you even have Lady Darkvein, which can copy up and multiply the curses. Deck is performing very well, probably a bit more expensive than regular Imp Warlock, but it gives you more flexibility against those slower matchups that can actually answer your early board. We have what some consider to be the new best deck, although it's way too early to say that, and that's Control Renathal Shaman. It's all about controlling that board. You have in here all sorts of control cards. Your removal cards are basically around, like, you know, your Schoolings, your Lurgle, you have your Rush minions in here with your Command of Neptulon, you got Wildpaw Cavern, you even have an Evolve package in here with Muck Pools and Crud Caretaker, and all this stuff is fueling your Denathrius as you go along, which you can eventually macaw if it comes down to that repeat its battle cry. You have high rolls in here, like getting an early Goldshire Knoll and turning it into another 10 drop early on. The deck has a lot of stuff going on, a lot of cards going on, so you want to try and draw with your Gorlock Ravagers, with your Famish Fools. But so far this deck has been taken to rank 1 legend. I believe Theo also got to 12th legend yesterday. The deck seems to be performing pretty well at the highest of ranks, and well, it's a good old-fashioned control deck with some scam elements. So definitely not a cheap one, but a lot of good cards in here that you can utilize and have some success with. The next 2 decks here are ones that are not as safe to recommend, but I thought they were really cool to highlight. First, I believe this is Pheno's Relic Demon Hunter. I've been playing it. He's top 100 legend with it. I'm like 6-1 so far, top 500 legend with it. It's just a really fun Relic Demon Hunter deck. It's 30 cards. You have some high rolls in here. If you hit with your mana cheat, like in Alexstrasza, you have the newly buffed School Teacher, which can get relics. Yeah, overall, you're just trying to fuel your relics, get your mana cheat going, Relic of Dimensions, and try and hit one of these big ones. You can even manipulate it with Finley, put it back into your deck if you didn't get the discount you wanted. And it's just a really fun deck. I highly recommend it if you're trying to have some fun and also climb, because I do think, so far at least playing it myself, I have had success against every class that I've faced so far. Instead of Paladin. And well, let's talk about Paladin. This is also one I can't say with great confidence on, but pure Paladin seems to be performing all right. This deck here has about a 55% win rate in Diamond through Legend. I've seen multiple streamers in top 10 Legend playing it. I think I saw Baby Bear say she had a great run with it. Pure Paladin might have caught up with all the nerfs going on. It might actually be viable. Craft at your own risk, play at your own risk, but we have the recently buffed Alliance Bannerman. But overall, all the other cards are slowing down. All the other decks are slowing down. And maybe, just maybe, it's letting Pure Paladin get in there. You have the Countess, which was buffed not too long ago, the Elitist Snob, Carriel, of course, and overall, maybe there's a playable Paladin deck, has a little bit of the dude package going on in there. I've even seen lists running Stewart, if you want to give that a go, but definitely one I would not craft. This is just kind of play if you got it, see if it works out. We'll see how Pure Paladin develops, but overall, right now, it's actually kind of winning some games. And then we have Wild, and Wild has a new king. Arguably the best deck of the format is not Pirate Rogue, it is even Totem Shaman, with all the new totem cards from Castle Nathria, like Carving Chisel, like the Stone Right, like Theotar's even run in here, and Gigan Totem. This deck is just able to cheat out ridiculous board states. You can buff up your totems for 0 mana with Totemic Might, Totemic Surge. It goes very well with a Splitting Axe, and yes, even Shaman is doing incredibly well in the format. You just gotta have Gen Greymane in there to make your hero power cost 1 less and generate totems, overwhelm your opponent, and get in there, kill some people. And overall, yeah, even Totem Shaman is doing well. And speaking of, well, Pirate Rogue, we have Pirate Rogue. Pirate Rogue's still one of the best decks in Wild. Have to recommend it. Super aggressive, super fast deck, relatively cheap if you ignore Mr. Smite, which I don't believe is really hard, like super required, but it's definitely recommended, as well as Patches the Pirate, which is just a really good card that you want to, you know, craft in Wild if you're playing any pirate-based deck. But overall, yeah, Swordfish is the card that puts it all together, where you equip it, get that buff, you can cheat out a Crazy Fellwing if you hit the face, a Dread Corsair. Of course, you're also buffing pirates, and that can hit a deckhand, that can hit a Mr. Smite. Ridiculously good deck, and has been for quite some time. Next, we have the deck that I keep saying needs to get deleted because it's unhealthy for the game. That's despite the fact that I play this deck a lot. But yes, Quest Mage, if you are not running into much aggro and you want to win games, Quest Mage is the way to go. This deck can scam aggro, but it just crushes every slow matchup unless they hit that key disruption like Loatheb and Chain It, things like that. But basically, you gotta open the Waygate, you complete the quest, whether it be through some coins, some biscuits, but typically through Servar shenanigans. You just keep casting infinite turns with parrots and potions of illusions. It's gross, it's disgusting. You'll probably get some nasty friend requests, but overall, if you want to beat up on some slower decks, Quest Mage is the best deck for that. Another deck that has performed very well is Reno Shadow Priest, built around the whole Thief package, and you just basically are just obnoxious as hell. You steal your opponent's win condition, you deplete them of resources, and you've got in here Raza and Anduin, which gives you a 0 mana hero power, which can push incredible damage. But overall, you don't even run like a Spawn of Shadows kind of combination of cards to kill. It is an outright kind of attrition control deck that just wears your opponent down. And when you have new cards in here like Identity Theft, Harvester of Envy actually sees meta play in Wild, well, if you like this type of deck, you'll have some success. But you'll note, there's just a few legendaries, definitely not budget friendly whatsoever. And my last recommendation, if I'm going to recommend Quest Mage, the most toxic deck in Wild, I got to recommend the other most toxic deck in Wild, Big Priest. Yeah, cheat out big men, whether it's a Neptulon, a Blood of Cahoon, typically trying to hit an Illuminate into a cheap Shadow Essence right of Yasharaj, and well, just keep resurrecting it and killing your opponent. You will win a lot of games with this deck. You will also get a lot of nasty friend requests, but overall, it's very effective. It's very good. And also, it's just really easy to play. You don't have to play very many cards per turn. It kind of plays itself, so you want some easy games with some Big Priest, well, you're gonna get it, and you're gonna get some really early Neptulons quite a bit of the time. You can have it on turn 2. If you Illuminate on 1, coin a 3 mana Essence, you can hit that Neptulon, and yeah, lights out. Pretty much nobody comes back from that. So there you go. Those are 10 decks you can reasonably expect to climb with. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day, and stay salty, my friends.